All right. So I'm trying something new over here. I'm going live on YouTube and on Facebook. Um, yeah, trying it out. Never did this before, but it will make life way easier than constantly recording on my mirrorless camera, editing it, and then eventually uploading it. It's just a lot of time consuming, and I want to bring my thoughts to you guys and hopefully get a response also from you. So I also installed a mic. I hope the audio is good. Um, and it seems to work. Everything seems to be live. That's awesome. So, guys, yesterday, I had a somebody interviewed me for her podcast, Jess, and she asked me a set of questions all about this path where I'm walking on the authentic self mastery, the fulfillment through a healthy sexuality. And because of this podcast, I found it important to share something with you guys. Now, just a little bit about my background. If you're new, my name is Ermo Egberts. I have a creative background. I've been studying videography, and I love the creative part of it. But throughout my life, I always found um, a lack in something, an anxiety, and I felt like I was not living my full life. And through this sexual mastery, eventually I found out that my porn addiction and my sexual compulsive behavior was the problem, what could help me expand in the next levels of life. And so, through figuring this all out, a lot of trial and error, I found eventually a way, what works for me to, expand in these aspects. And now, yesterday, the podcast was all about vulnerability and transparency. And this is also what I kind of try to share with this path I am walking on, the coaching, what I'm doing for the healthy sexuality, the controlled mastery, what I'm doing with my friend Jeremy. We have a group of people, you can see it down in the link, where we are just a community. We're there for one and another, and it's important to share for us our thoughts, and it's not always about the end result. It's more about the process, about what's going on, how are you feeling, and maybe if you share, people feel more connected with one another. You don't feel alone anymore, and you can learn with each other. Because one big problem is, I believe, with these addictions or with the compulsive behaviors, is that so often there is a sense of loneliness. There's a lot of shame, a lot of guilt involved with this whole pornography usage and sexual compulsive behaviors. And I think this is the first thing what you have to break through to release yourself from it, to start beating it. Because if you can't be transparent about your problem, if you can't be vulnerable, there is no chance that you can get help, because often you need help. With the guys also who I'm talking with, and myself included, we've been seeking for such a long time and trying, but constantly failing back again into this old pattern, into these old habits. And sometimes it goes on for years and years and years. Like it seems like a never ending cycle. And the reason why is often because you don't have this support, but also you don't have the right knowledge yet to start beating these habits. And these two things are just super important to start living your life, fulfilled life, right? So a very important thing what I wanted to discuss is also what it actually is. What does pornography or overactive masturbation do with you? Now, as we all know, if you would, let's talk about drugs, right? If you would take drugs, chemical substance, what happens? Let's take cocaine as an example. Your dopamine level will spike up, and you will feel awesome. You're surfing this extremely high wave, but you will crash down again. Like they call it also the Blue Monday or Blue Tuesday. I don't even know. But I was checking if the live is still going on. Yeah, it seems all good. But the thing is, so you spike up and then eventually you crash down again. And the thing is with this is that you crash down and you get your Blue Monday and you feel like shit and miserable, and it even can go that far that you want to throw yourself from the bridge. Now, the difference between, well, actually, first, the similarity with the pornography users and the drugs is that you both spike up your dopamine levels, right? It's both taking a hit, no matter if you're browsing online and you're finding your favorite porn or you take your drugs, it both spikes up the dopamine level. Now, there's one problem. With the cocaine, you will crash down and you will not take it for a while, that's for sure. But with porn, the problem is that you will, if you're having this dopamine and you spike it up, you can constantly keep on spiking this up. And now, think about that as a junkie who needs more cocaine, you need also more pornography and more extremer. So you start off with maybe very subtle, but eventually you will go really into some crazy things where you couldn't even imagine of watching when you started off with this. So, and this is one of the biggest problems with pornography, because you lose grip on reality, right? You start watching it, it becomes extremer, and then you have a certain expectations in your real life that this also will happen when you maybe have an intercourse or you meet somebody. So your whole realistic, your real world starts to transform in this fiction, right? In this movie you're acting in, what is not a reality anymore. Now, looking at the pornography or the sexual compulsive behaviors, often the problem itself is not the pornography. It's not, doing the deeds. What is a bigger problem is, why are people doing that? What is the reason behind this? There is often various reasons, but it can be emotional, it can be your self-esteem, it can be anxiety, it can be traumas, it can be your environment, it can be your relationship. There are so many different aspects why a person is watching. And I get also often the question like, yeah, but how do you know if somebody's addicted, right? And I can't say that. It's not possible for me to say. I was checking if the live is still going. Yeah, seems good. There's one person watching. I have no clue who it is, but hello, one person. So yeah, and the thing is, what was I saying? Yeah, so often there is like, it's not about that user, it's about why are people watching it and when are you addicted. It's hard for me to say, and maybe also for yourself, but I think if you can ask yourself the question, can I live without it? If the answer is yes, you're probably not addicted. You don't need to be concerned. But if the answer is yes, and you're seeking for this usage as soon as you feel kind of numb, then you have a problem. Then you are addicted, right? Because if you look at it, like often, if you have an emotional pain, let's say there's something happened in your past and, like you have a trauma going on, right? We think that with seeking for this lust, this pornography, we can change our behaviors eventually, right? But this is the biggest problem. Like if you use your emotion, you have an emotional pain, but the only thing what you do with that is watch pornography to numb that feeling, your whole behaviors in reality start to shift. And it's not the behaviors, what is, I believe, normal for a human being anymore. Right? So ask yourself the question, that if you are addicted, ask this, can I go without it? Is it a problem in my daily life? And do I need to watch it just to numb my own feelings? Right? So another thing what I wanted to discuss is about this whole taboo topic. The crazy thing is that we are all sexual creatures. Simple as that. That's evolution. We evolved this way, right? So it's so important to start discussing it and start talking about it, because this doesn't happen enough, I believe, in school. But we see it in magazines, we see it on photographs, we see it in movies, even the freaking Titanic. Everybody knows the scene where this beautiful hand touches that window, and then, you know what's going on constantly. But we don't talk about if there's compulsion, if it's becoming too much. So once again, if you feel that, start asking yourself a certain set of questions. And you can always reach out to me where I can help you with to find out if you may be addicted, or join our group, what I put it down below. Now, and I said this before the first time also, you gotta be transparent, you gotta be vulnerable, otherwise we can't help it. One thing what I also want to discuss is, let's say you're facing this problem, right? Like you start, maybe you hear about the nofap community. It's pretty famous, and there's forums out there, there's Facebook groups, and these people, like a lot of people also, what I think is awesome, but they talk about, oh yeah, so I sustain from sex now for so many months. I don't masturbate anymore whatsoever. But then I feel like this aggression coming up, right? And I think this is an important thing to think and consider, because if you sustain and if you hold your vital energy, the most vital energy, think about it. It's the strongest stimulants for our brain there is. War started. Freaking Napoleon, he started to going on a rage because there was love and desire and lust for his women, right? So war started from it. And think how powerful this is. Now, if you start stopping and sustaining yourself, it's super, super, super important that you realize that you got to transmute it towards something, somewhere. Because if you don't do this, it's like a ball of energy, like a bucket of water will flow over eventually and the bomb will explode. Or maybe you even start doing some crazy shit, and we don't want that. I'm just going to check out where we at the stream. There's one person still watching. That's awesome. Thank you for watching. I don't know what is this. I don't know how this all works. It's all new for me. Live stream, we also have one person. That's great. And then, yeah, so how do you do this? How do you transmute your sexual energy? There's various methods, a lot of methods. But I think for now, what I wanted to tell is that I want to give you three. The first one, obviously, is meditation. Meditation is a super powerful way, it calms our mind. But more powerful, I find, is a Kundalini meditation. Lifting that energy upwards your spine, where it spreads out through your body, right? Because, like in India or in the yogi traditions, they talk about chakras. And if your energy is in your root chakra, there is a chance that you will explode, right? Or you will ejaculate or whatever. So you gotta constantly transmute it upwards into your heart center or into your brain, and then you should be fine, right? You feel more at ease with this powerful energy. Now, a second one is physical exercise. It's been a very big topic for me, and I believe this is just because you have this energy and you push it towards, you do a physical exercise, what means this energy gets used up, right? It's like a car. If you put fuel in there, you can drive super slow for many, many days. But if you go on the highway and you fucking go for it, your car will get emptier sooner. So if you see that this sexual energy is fuel, you can use this as a kind of a metaphor, right? And then another one, the third one is, what do I want to say? The third one is creativity. That's it. Creativity, a big, big role, right? Look at sexual creation, sexual energy. Sexual energy is creation. A child gets born, right? It gets created because you release your sexual energy. And in a lady's or a girl's belly, there's growing, it's creating a child, right? So now look at creation. If you can create something else, no matter what, it can be videography, it can be photography, graphic design, web design, whatever. If you start creating, your sexual energy will spread itself out. And more importantly, you can create freaking masterpieces, guys. You can create awesome stuff. And I find personally that since I am, I could say, born free, or I understand the sexual energy, my creativity expanded. And this is in videography, visual storytelling, but also in the guitar and music. Music becomes something so intense, like it touches my soul when I listen to live music. I love it. I want to just soak it all up like a sponge, right? So these 3 steps, guys, is for the sexual transmutation. It's a super powerful technique to really understand the power of what for energy you're having inside your body. Okay? And I think this is kind of it where I want to talk about. It's all packed up in a little box. Once again, join the group. If you need accountability, join the group and you can you can see also the other warriors, where are they dealing with, and maybe you can help somebody out because you are a few steps ahead, or maybe you just dealt with it and you found out the solution. It's not this whole thing is so important that we're doing this with one another and not ego tripping, not being like, yo, I did 1 year of semen retention, I'm the king. No, you're not, right? Like, you gotta share, you gotta create with one another. So join that group. I put it down there, super important. There is a lot happening also in my life right now. I'm building out a lot, right? Like, there's coming a new website for me, ermocoaching.com, and it's going to be all about this topic. I'm super passionate about it. I want to help, I want to be at service, and soon it will be launched. Now, my friend Jeremy and me, we also creating something new, and I'm going to be a little bit silent about that, but it's gonna happen, and we're gonna discuss these kinds of topics in a private group. Okay, I'm gonna keep you guys updated about it, but if you have any questions about any subject, don't hesitate, ask me, and I'm here for you to help. Okay, now last thing is that I need your help, right? Very important, because I've been a visual storyteller. I've been mostly on the other side of the camera, but now since a while I've been in front, and I started obviously this YouTube channel just now, right? Like, I have 70 subscribers, but I need your help. So if you please can subscribe to my channel, share, like, do whatever, just that I know that you're enjoying this, what I'm talking about, and that you want to see more content, right? Hit the bell and let me know your thoughts. I want to know from you, what do you define under healthy sexuality? Because it can go far, right? I didn't even talk about how it would be to have a sexual intercourse. Careza, a very big thing. Or Neos, Google that stuff. Neos. And I'm not telling you what it is. Use Google, you'll find it out. It's super interesting. All right, guys, this is my first live stream. I did it on YouTube, and I also did it on Facebook right now. So yeah, that's it. That's it for today. Thank you for watching, and I speak to you soon. Bomba. How do I stop this?